Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma do you 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Nothing. Baby girl, upon your face, you got me something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, why you get there? Oh, yeah, shoot back, no, they do smash, man. Yeah, nothing where I no go do for my.
All right, guys, what's up? How you doing today? Hope you all are doing great. I go by the name Smiza Vibe. Today, gonna be showing you guys a breakdown on how I mixed a cover for a friend of mine and a producer as well, King Sound. He actually made a cover to Bella Smuda featuring Omale Philo, and sent me the data via WhatsApp for me to mix for him. And I actually mixed the song and sent it over to him, and it was like, wow. So I'm gonna be showing you guys a breakdown on what I did actually on this song to get it to the level, or to get it sounding like the preview which you guys just listened. So opening the data, there are some plugins which came with it which I left untouched. So one of it is just the auto tune that came there. These settings was what came with it. I actually didn't touch these settings because he already tweaked the plugin to sounding the way he wanted it to sound. So I just left it that way for him. Yeah, and So now what did I do first? I actually added a okay, you know what I'm gonna do, guys? Let me play the song without any processing on them. Then I'm gonna be showing you guys the breakdown on how I did achieve it sounding the way we all had it, starting from here.
Yeah, nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk about 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah. Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk you 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Nothing. Baby girl, upon your face, you got me something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl,
Yeah, so that's just it. And with the auto tune, let's hit it one more time without the instrumental playing. This is it.
nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk about 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah. Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow.
Yeah, you will notice that there's some background room ambience that came with the vocal. So I had to use NS1 to suppress that a bit, and this is how it sounds.
Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk about 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah.
So those room frequency are actually out of the way. Then this DSR, yes, it was actually the same setting he had on it. I didn't touch it. I just left it the way he DS'd his vocals. So I left that without touching. So this is how it sounded.
Nothing where I no go do for my.
This is actually what he was taking out. So
Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk about 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah. Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk you 10 kilo, 10 kilo.
so next thing I did was I added a fab filter to it. The Pro Q1. I used that one to remove about 131 hertz out to remove the low frequency that were in the vocals, like this part.
Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk about 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah. Nothing where I no go do for my filo.
Yeah, without it, this is how it sounds.
Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk about 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah. Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'ma talk you 10 kilo, 10 kilo.
So that was actually what I did. Here, what I was actually trying to do was like control the vocals to sit properly with the beat and treat it by removing the rumbles, the the background noise, the room frequencies that are not needed, the hertz, the hertz in the vocals. That's what I actually use this particular insert to treat. Then over to the boss, the vocal boss. Yeah, this is actually where I did all my processing. The next thing I did was I added the CLA2A to it. Yeah, this CLA2A is just to compress the vocals to become even. If you look at these vocals properly from here, you see that there are some, like here now. You will notice that from here, this vocals is high here and is low towards this side. And also when you look at this side as well, you see that it's quiet here, high here. This place is high, high. Some parts are quiet, some parts are high. So what I actually use this CLA2A to do is just to make the vocal consistent and upfront. So this is what it sounds like with the CLA2A alone.
Pilo, I'm a dodun, 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Oh. Nothing, nothing. Baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl.
Without it.
Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, watch you get there. Oh, yeah.
So after adding the CLA2A, I noticed that there are some frequency that popped out again. So instead of using an EQ directly to like control those frequency, instead I use a C6. A C6 is a dynamic multiband compressor. So that's what I actually use to like control my frequency. So how did I do that? First thing I did was I used this particular frequency here to about 92 hertz. I used that to control the low frequencies. Listen. So I actually use that to control the frequency. Then over to this side, I noticed the vocals were a bit muddy towards this region. So I used it also to control this frequency here.
Kilo, I'm a dodun, 10 kilo, 10 kilo.
So you can actually hear what I'm actually taking out here.
Kilo, I'm a dodun, 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Nothing, nothing. Baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl.
This actually helped me in making the vocals less muddy and a bit cleaner. Listen to it with just the CLA2A and the C6. This is how the vocal sounded.
Pilo, I'm a dodun, 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Nothing, nothing.
Without
Baby
it.
girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, watch you get there. Oh, yeah, shoot back, no, they do smash, man.
So that was what I actually did. Then the next thing I added was a Pro 3. I added this to like control and also tame the frequencies towards that low frequency. And this is how it sounded like.
Pilo, I'm a dodun, 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Nothing, nothing. Baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, watch you get there. Oh, yeah.
Without it, this is how it sounded like.
Nothing. Baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, watch you get there. Oh, yeah, shoot back, no, they do smash, man.
So what I actually use this to do is like to remove some frequencies that are not needed in the vocal, like this part. Listen.
Wanting.
And also this part, like this is the harsh frequency.
Render.
And also this part. So just to like control those harsh frequency and unwanted resonant frequency that are making the vocal not sit properly on the beat. And the move I make here is basically based on the kind of vocal I'm dealing with here. If it were to be another vocal, maybe these moves I might not be doing them. So this moves is just to make sure that this vocal sit properly on this track. You get. So I also control this 150 Hz here. I use the Pro Q as a dynamic EQ to control this particular frequency here. This is what I'm actually taking out again.
Girl, if you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood.
So next thing I added was Butch vocals. And actually, what did I use this particular plugin to do is just to like control the lower frequencies, like the low around 300. I brought 300 down because I noticed that the vocals were a bit much, so I had to bring it down by reducing this low here by how many by minus 2 dB. So it actually helped the vocal a bit cleaner and less muddier.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I know go
Without
kiss
it,
and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, watch you get there. Oh, yeah, shoot back, back. No, the two smash, man. Yeah, nothing where I no go do for.
so that was what I actually did with that. So the next thing I did was I added a SSL bus compressor to like also compress and glue the vocals together. And this is how it sounds like.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, watch you get there. Oh, yeah, shoot back, back. No, the two smash, man.
Without
Yeah,
it.
nothing where I no go do for my feel. Nothing. Baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl.
Without
If you
it.
surrender, I
With
no go
it.
kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood.
So next thing I added was the C6 also. The C6 also was to like control certain frequencies in the vocal as well. I repeated what I did in the first C6. I controlled this particular frequency again because when I added this particular compressor, I noticed that it brought out some of the 300 and low frequency again. So I had to tame it again. So this is what I actually took out here. Around 128 hertz, I took that out, and I also took 300 again. Like I said, it brought out the 300 out to control it again.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl.
Then what else I did? I think I brought out around 1.5 hertz to make the vocal upfront, but I did that dynamically. I didn't use an EQ. This is what I did here. This particular frequency.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl.
So I just wanted that particular part to come out more. So what I did was I brought up this range to about 1.8, then I brought out the threshold. So whenever the vocals is singing, it brings the vocals at that particular frequency up by itself dynamically, not using an EQ to boost here.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be
As you
wanting,
can
girl.
see.
If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood.
Sorry, yeah, before I forget. Yeah, what I actually did also here was I boosted the high frequency around 11K by 2 dB. I did that like I used the C6 here as an EQ. I didn't actually use it as a dynamic processing stuff. I use it as an EQ to bring up the sheen of the vocals by 2 dB.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl.
This is actually what I'm boosting.
And
So
I
without
no go
it,
kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, watch you get there. Oh, yeah, shoot back, back. No, the two smash, man.
so everything I'm doing is just subtle, right? I'm not making much changes in the vocal. So the next thing I added was a fresh air to also give you some sheen. This is what the fresh air is doing to the vocal. Listen.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood.
Without
Baby
it.
girl, watch you get there. Oh, yeah, shoot back, back. No, the two smash, man. Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell.
So that was actually what I did. Then I noticed that after achieving this, I noticed that the vocals were not properly or were not actually sitting properly because of the beat. So I had to like use the vocals to control the beat. So whenever the vocal is singing, the beat drops by a slight dB. So how did I do that? I use a compressor, a C1 compressor. I used it that whenever the vocal is playing, it compresses the beat a bit. So for us to hear this, I have to like use the send Yes, I have to turn it down here. So this is how it sounds.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something,
Notice
girl.
it's dropping by -2 dB.
Every time that you're around, girl, you're
You will notice whenever I engage it, the vocal comes up front. Listen again. Without it first.
nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I don't go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around, girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, why you get there? Oh, yeah, shoot back, man. No, they do smash, man.
So that's just it. Now over to the FX. Yeah, the FX. What did I do in the FX? The first thing I added was a reverb. You know now. I added a reverb, and I've explained in my tutorials how to calculate your reverb time. And without wasting time, this is the settings I had on this vocal because of the tempo of the track is around 111. That's the tempo of this particular track. So I use my reverb calculator to calculate this to get this. But the pre-delay is just how the plugin came. That's how I left the pre-delay. I didn't calculate for the pre-delay because around 20 milliseconds I was actually getting what I wanted. But the decay time I calculated that. You can check my other tutorials to know how I calculated my um decay time. So I added the de-esser to the reverb to control the S's that comes in before it hits the reverb. So whenever the vocal sing, any de-essing sound that is in it, any S's that comes in before the it hits the reverb, this de-esser plugin controls that for me. So this is how it is.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I don't go kiss and tell.
So I also controlled the low frequency of the reverb. I removed around 500 hertz. I actually did it here also. I removed around 710 and around 8K. I removed it, but it wasn't really making the vocal sit. It was a bit muddier, so I had to use an REQ equalizer to like remove around 500. Then I limited the reverb so that it's consistent. It doesn't become too loud at some parts. So this is just my reverb settings. This is how it sounds.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I don't go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around, girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, why you get there? Oh, yeah, shoot back, man. No, they do smash, man. Yeah, nothing.
So the next thing was to add a delay. And what's the delay doing? Same processing, almost the same similar processing I had on the reverb to control the S's. Then my delay plugin comes in, which is H delay. Then an EQ also to control the low frequencies. Then I have an L1 limiter to like control the consistency of the delay. Listen.
Nothing, baby girl, upon your face, you carry something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I don't go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around, girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, why you get there? Oh, yeah, shoot back, man. No, they do.
So that's actually what the you can look at the settings. This is actually the settings for a while. Then the next thing I did was I added a saturation to the vocal. I use fabfilter Saturn to add this to the vocals. So this is just the settings I had. So I use it as a send. So I'm just adding a little to the vocal, as you can see here. I'm adding a little to the vocal. Around, yeah, just -26. This is what I'm adding to the vocals. Just to make the vocal a bit crisp and upfront. Listen.
Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow.
Without it.
I'm a talk about 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah.
Let me remove this so you'll be able to hear it properly. This is it.
Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'm a talk about 10 kilo.
Just to make it a bit grittier, you get. Then that's just pretty much all I did. Then on the master bus, I just added my L1 linear EQ broadband stereo. Then I boosted around 16K by 1.3 just to make the song a bit lively and hairy, you get. So to give you some presence, then as normal, my normal limiter. This is the limiter that makes it all loud. I just brought this down and we have a good song. So guys, if you learn one or two things in this tutorial, kindly subscribe and hit the bell notification so that whenever I drop a new tutorial, you'll be the first to know. So without wasting much time, guys, peace out.
Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'm a dog but 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah. Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'm a dog 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Oh. Nothing, nothing. Baby girl, upon your face, you got me something, girl. Something that I be wanting, girl. If you surrender, I no go kiss and tell. Girl, you make me feel good every time that you're around. Girl, you put me in the mood. Baby girl, why you get there? Oh, yeah, shoot back, back. No, they do smash, man. Yeah, nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'm a dog but 10 kilo, 10 kilo. Yeah. Nothing where I no go do for my filo. Rest on me like pillow. I'm a dog 10 kilo, 10 kilo.